Welcome back to the sewing room. I'm Laura, and today I want to talk to you about whether this touch and sew can make a chain stitch. My affection for Singer Touch and Sew sewing machines is well documented on this channel. And this particular machine, the 600, is one of the first ones that was built. But Singer did make machines similar to this one from 1962 till about 1975. That's a long time, and it did go through several iterations. And one of the things that the very first machines weren't really built to do or designed to do, and that is not in the manual, is making a chain stitch. But later versions of the machine can and will make a chain stitch, and actually I don't think there's any reason that we can't use the accessories from a later model to get this machine to chain stitch. So let's try it. Now, while you could be forgiven for choosing a machine like this one on looks alone, it is a beautiful machine. It also has a lot to offer in terms of its capabilities, somewhat more even than you would expect from a machine of a similar price point today. Now, what is chain stitch and why do you want it? Now, most domestic sewing machines use the bobbin to create what's called a lock stitch. So you have one thread coming from the bottom of the machine, the bobbin area, another thread coming from the top of the machine through the needle, and that creates a stitch that locks upon itself. Now, this style of chain stitch only needs one thread to work, so you actually don't use the bobbin at all. So in a pinch, you could use this technique to run a machine even if you've lost the bobbin, or even if you don't have a bobbin, or even if something else has gone wrong in the bobbin area of the machine. It is a known issue among touch and sews that occasionally the auto reel feature or the self-winding feature that happens in the bobbin area sometimes just stops working. I think usually there's basically a spring that can go bad within that mechanism so that it won't work. So maybe you're in a situation where this is your only machine, or it's your backup machine, or it's a loaner machine, and the bobbin winding mechanism isn't working very well. In theory, you could use the chain stitching method to still be able to sew things. Some people do also intentionally use chain stitching for certain kinds of tasks. I personally love it for basting because it is the easiest stitch in the world to remove after you're done, needing it for basting. So especially if you're going to be basting an area that is also then closed later, and you only have access to the top side to pull that stitching out for the basting, that's possible with chain stitching and really, really difficult with a lock stitch, even a long lock stitch, even a long loose lock stitch, which people normally use for basting. So for me, it's the absolute best method for basting. So especially besides even just basting to check fit or for other kinds of things you might do for garments, it's fantastic for things like maybe you're checking the length of a curtain or the length of a hem or something like that. Being able to lay in a line of basting that you know is going to be super, super easy later to take out is just a fantastic feature to have on a sewing machine. We do also see chain stitch used decoratively. Back in the day, a lot of times, and even now, you see a lot of machine embroidery. If it's not done by a specific kind of embroidery sewing machine, it's often done with a chain stitch. It's a little more visible than a lock stitch and gives you a nice oomph for that kind of look. It's also used extensively in certain kinds of garments. Jeans often have a chain stitch, especially around the bottom of the hem. So if you're re-hemming something that had a chain stitch as a decorative element to the way that it was hemmed, repeating that technique is going to help give your jeans or your pants or your shirt or whatever a look more as if it hasn't been altered. So that's nice. So once you know what chain stitching is, you maybe will start to notice it on more of your garments and in general in your life. For me, I mostly do use it for basting. All right, get ready for a close-up on some jeans. This is chain stitch. You can see that it just looks a little thicker. I'm going to zoom. That's chain stitch detailing there. And the place you see it the most is on hems. Make sure that's in focus. Very early sewing machines could only do chain stitch. Lock stitch came along afterward, which might be why that kind of detailing has kind of persisted in workwear and heavy fabrics and western wear, such as jeans. But that's me speculating. I don't actually know that. Some people think that chain stitch is stronger than lock stitch. I guess it's possible that it's harder to pop a stitch because there's a little more kind of going on with the stitching, but then conversely, some people also say that chain stitch is slightly thinner and less bulky than lock stitch, which actually I'm a little more willing to believe, because after all, it's just one thread instead of two. There's no top thread and bobbin thread, it's just the top thread. Oh, another advantage of sewing with chain stitch versus lock stitch is your bobbin can't run out because there isn't a bobbin. So if you're doing something where you're working quickly, and especially if you already have the machine set up for chain stitching, you know, if you're kind of trying to just push through projects, and for me especially, again, the basting element is so wonderful for things like making muslins, then that's kind of an extra little bonus feature too, is that your bobbin can't run out when there isn't a bobbin. Step one of getting ready to chain stitch would be turning the hand wheel so that the thread take-up lever comes all the way to the top. This machine is already in that situation, so I don't need to do that. Step two is simply to take the bobbin out. Boom. Very easy. Watch me not be able to do it with one hand. And then also take out the throat plate, which on this machine is super easy. You literally just flip to unlock, and you can take the throat plate out. You will need 3 special attachments in order to chain stitch on any touch and sew sewing machine, as far as I know. There is a special needle plate, which looks a lot like the regular one. The difference is on the back. There is like a little dimension there. You see that little lever, arm, whatever you want to call it there? That is the mechanism that actually makes the stitching. And you need one of these guys. It changes the way that the thread take-up works for the top thread. And you need one of these guys. It goes over the bobbin area to kind of disengage it. When you insert the bobbin case cover in the bobbin case, you do want to make sure that the finger lift is on the right. That's how you know what direction it needs to go in. So that's just going to replace the bobbin. If I can get in there, come on. It's amazing how hard it is to do things when you're not sitting your usual way. Alright, come on, get in there. There we go. Okay, there, flush, and then that is going to sit right there just as if that were a bobbin. I'm going to insert the throat plate in the usual position and lock it into the regular position. Or in this machine, it's labeled as down. That's there. I'll zoom out so you can see what I'm doing. Hopefully that worked. Let's try. Let's double check. There we go. All right. Close that. Okay, last thing to do is open that up and set this. It should slide right onto that. Arm there. Well, not quite the last thing. I will have to rethread rethread that part of the machine. Okay, and then when threading, it's already come through the take-up lever. Well, actually, I need a new thread. There's no thread on this machine. My students are always so surprised when that works their first time, and frankly, so am I. Alright, and just like any other test, and this is a test because I have not done this before with this machine, I'm not even plugging in the machine at first. I am just going to see if it will work with just me turning the hand wheel. So here's my thread. And here's me turning my hand wheel. Ooh, there it goes. Okay, good. This wasn't quite locking in before, but now it is, so that's good. And seems to be functioning. All right, time to add some power. Now I always forget this, so I'm gonna make sure that you don't, maybe. I always think I can just lift that foot up and just pull it right out of the machine the way that I'm used to doing for lock stitch. This machine is not designed to do that when it's in a chain stitch situation. So instead, what you do want to do is you want to chain you want to go ahead and stitch until you are right off the fabric, which is completely the opposite of any advice I normally offer for sewing machines, but you know, chain stitching is different. And again, this is going to be pretty much the opposite of the advice I would normally offer anybody for anything with a sewing machine, but again, this is just unusual. So now I want to release this chain from underneath, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold it firmly with my left hand. I'm going to take my right hand, I'm going to turn the hand wheel until it goes all the way down, and you can see that actually already kind of released it, but it's going to form another one. So if it comes all the way up, if I turn the wheel backwards until it releases. Alright, this is a little freaky. There's a couple things that are different about chain stitch from lock stitch machines, and the first one is that when you're finished sewing the seam, there's no back stitching. You could, if you want to lock this stitch in, you could lower the needle here, lift the presser foot, turn the work all the way around, and stitch over the same area for a couple of stitches. And that's going to be pretty well locked. Now, again, I don't normally use it that way, but you could. But the other thing is, once you're done stitching that seam, you just stitch right off the edge of the fabric. Now on a lock stitch machine, we don't recommend this because that will often cause the bobbin area to jam. In fact, I think it's probably the #1 reason that bobbins jam, next to just not completing the stitch. So that, you know, that's a little different. The other thing is, once you really are truly done and say you want to switch back to a lock stitch for this machine, the way you get out of this is you want to be off the fabric. You raise the foot, keep a little tension on the thread here with your left hand, and then with your right hand just turn the wheel all the way around. You'll see it actually start to come. Alright, so now the stitching part, the chain stitch part is done, but this is still engaged in that bobbin area with that little hook underneath. So I'm going to actually undo that by grabbing the hand wheel and turning it away from me. Now 99.99% of the time, you only ever turn the wheel on most machines toward you. But in this case, you are going to back up. And what that does is that allows that mechanism underneath, in theory, come on, there we go, to release. So now this machine is ready to be converted back to just a lock stitch machine. Let's take a look at that beautiful stitching. At the end here got a little messy because I was kind of messing around, but that is lovely. A little bit of chain stitching. So from the top it looks just like a regular lock stitch, and then from the bottom it has a little bit of detail. It looks a little thicker, and so if you are using this for something like embroidery or applique or any sort of decorative work, you do want to remember that you want the part where you want the decoration to show to be on the bottom when you're sewing it. If you've been here before, thanks for coming back. If this is your first time, thanks for coming by. Either way, hope to see you soon.